Your kids now speak two languages that you don't speak.
Yes. I'm not a very smart person. And I've armed my children. They speak French and they speak Italian. And my wife speaks French and Italian.
Over the course of several decades, rumors concerning the identity of the most charming bachelor in Hollywood have been circulating, not only because of the captivating roles he has played in films, but also because of the buzz that has surrounded his personal life. George Clooney has always been able to secure the attention of the general public. Last but not least, his sister Adelia, who has grown weary of hearing the unsubstantiated tales, finally comes forward to confront them and reveal the true identity of George Clooney. Given the significance of the matter, why did his sister feel the need to express her opinion? Clooney will be affected in what ways by this revelation? We invite you to join us as the sister of George Clooney dispels the rumors once and for all. Despite the fact that George Clooney is one of the most eligible bachelors in Hollywood and has dated some of the most beautiful women in the world, there are rumors that Clooney has been rekindling a romance with Monica Jakicic, a Croatian model. According to these rumors, Clooney has been dating Monica Jakicic. Throughout his career, he has been confronted with numerous inquiries concerning his sexual orientation. It was after his divorce from actress Talia Balsam in 1993 that these rumors began to circulate. They continued to grow stronger during his years as a bachelor, even while he was dating famous women such as Lisa Snowden, Sarah Larson, and Elisabetta Canales. Adelia Zeidler, George Clooney's sister, delivered a speech from her residence in Augusta, Kentucky, the place where she and George Clooney spent their childhood. This was a rare family moment. The rumors were dismissed with laughter by her during an interview with the New York Daily News, in which she stated that they were quite absurd. She explained that her brother's dedication to his acting career does not leave much room for marriage and family life because of the amount of time involved. A great number of individuals are unaware of the fact that George Clooney's response to these rumors demonstrates his unwavering support for the rights of LGBTQ individuals. Long before it became popular in Hollywood, he was an outspoken advocate for marriage equality. He even took part in a reading of the play 8, which was based on the story of the court case that was brought about by California pertaining to Proposition 8. Within the context of the Advocate magazine in 2012, his response served as an excellent illustration of how to gracefully deal with speculation. He stated that jumping up and down is the very last thing they will ever see him do. He claimed that these statements were false and that it would be very unfair and unkind to his close friends who are members of the gay community. Behind the scenes, George Clooney's commitment issues arise from the fact that he witnessed a number of marriages in Hollywood disintegrate as a result of the pressures that come with fame. The information that was shared by his sister revealed that he had to make a deliberate choice between having a prosperous career and a secure family life. She explained that if he were to get married, he would want to be a husband who is present, someone who is able to devote their time and energy to the family, and someone who is able to do so. The more you consider how demanding his job is, the more clear this viewpoint becomes. George Clooney's schedule typically consisted of months of filming on location, promotional tours, and a significant amount of travel thanks to his status as a leading actor, director, and producer. The reality was much more straightforward. Despite the fact that many people were curious about his sexual orientation, instead of focusing on the conventional expectations of a relationship, he concentrated on his career. The transition from gossip and tabloids to important conversations about sexuality and personal choices demonstrates how far Hollywood and society have come, and it also demonstrates that the path to happiness is different for each individual. While individuals all over the world were debating George Clooney's sexual orientation, a concealed aspect of his history provided an explanation for why he was reluctant to remarry. A hasty wedding in Las Vegas that resulted in heartbreak and legal fees totaling $80,000 was the unfortunate outcome. Can you explain why the most eligible bachelor in Hollywood chose to wait 20 years before getting married? George Clooney's first marriage was to Talia Balsam. Prior to becoming Hollywood's most famous bachelor, Clooney was married to Talia Balsam. In 1984, when they were both young actors trying to make their dreams come true, they happened to meet at a local theater production. This is where their love story began. During the time that Clooney was still trying to establish himself in the industry, Talia was born to the well-known actors Martin Balsam and Joyce Van Patten. She came from a family that had connections in the entertainment industry. Following the conclusion of their initial romantic involvement, Clooney went on to develop a romantic relationship with the actress Kelly Preston. He even adopted a pot-bellied pig named Max during this time period, and he would end up staying with him for the next 18 years. Max would outlive both of his relationships. In spite of this, Talia and George were reunited in 1989 thanks to the hand of fate. In the midst of an unplanned romantic moment, Clooney, who was 28 years old at the time, proposed to Balsam, and the couple promptly traveled to Las Vegas for an unplanned wedding in December of that same year. In spite of this, the young couple found that the difficulties of married life in Hollywood proved to be quite challenging. While Clooney was still attempting to manage his expanding career and the pressures that came along with it, Talia had grown up knowing the demands that the entertainment industry imposes on its employees. The marriage lasted for only 20 months, and Clooney later admitted that during this time he developed health problems due to stress, including a bleeding ulcer. The marriage ended in divorce. He told Vanity Fair that he probably or definitely wasn't someone who should have been married at that point in time. This was in 1993 when they divorced, and he accepted full responsibility for the failure of the marriage. In a move that is not typical of divorces in the entertainment industry, Clooney suggested that they settle their differences amicably and told Talia to determine her own price. On the other hand, they ended up spending $80,000 on attorney fees, which caused him to feel frustrated and cautious about marriage for a number of years. Both Talia and Clooney have moved on to be happy in their lives, despite the fact that they broke up. Because of the profound effect that the event had on Clooney's perspective regarding marriage, it was not until 21 years later, when he was introduced to Amal Alamuddin, a human rights lawyer, that he even considered the possibility of getting married once more. When George Clooney's marriage ended, he devoted his full attention to his professional endeavors. The path that led him to stardom was not an easy one. He had to do things like give up his dreams of playing baseball and sleep in the closet of a friend. What a last-ditch decision did he make that revolutionized his life? George Clooney's early life was not as glamorous as Hollywood's. He was born in Lexington, Kentucky in 1961, and his career began to rise almost immediately after. As the son of Nina Bruce, a former beauty queen, and Nick Clooney, a well-known TV host and journalist, young George Clooney had the opportunity to personally experience both the allure and the challenges that come with living a life in the public eye. George Clooney's first dream was not to become an actor, despite the fact that his family had connections in the entertainment industry. The game was baseball. He demonstrated a great deal of talent while he was still in high school in Augusta, Kentucky, and in 1977, he was even given the opportunity to try out for the Cincinnati Reds. As a result of the failure of that dream to materialize, he was forced to confront a turning point and began working a variety of odd jobs, such as selling shoes for women and cutting tobacco. Becoming famous was not an easy path to take. After moving to Los Angeles when he was in his early 20s, George Clooney lived in the closet of a friend and rode a bicycle to auditions. One of his roles was as a handyman on The Facts of Life, and he also made a few appearances on Roseanne. He was cast in less significant roles on shows that were not memorable. It was through these early challenges that he learned to be persistent. It has been reported that he attempted 15 unsuccessful television pilots before finally achieving success. From the moment George Clooney was cast as Dr. Doug Ross on the television show ER in 1994, everything was different. The medical drama established itself as a cultural phenomenon, garnering more than 30 million viewers for each episode. It was Clooney's portrayal of the charming but complicated pediatrician that brought him to the attention of the general public and earned him 2 nominations for an Emmy. Instead of allowing himself to become complacent with his success on television, George Clooney took some calculated risks. He began his search for film roles while he was still working on the television show ER, and he began his search with the vampire thriller From Dusk Till Dawn in the year 1996. In spite of the fact that his performance as Batman in Batman and Robin in 1997 was met with criticism, he was able to recover with praised performances in Out of Sight in 1998 and Three Kings in 1999. As soon as he started working behind the camera, his career took a different turn. Through his experiences with directors such as Steven Soderbergh and the Coen brothers, George Clooney was able to develop his own unique style of directing. The results of his labor were rewarded with a number of Academy Awards, not only for his performance in Syriana in 2005, but also for his work as a producer on Argo in 2012. As a result, he was counted among the select few individuals who were nominated for Academy Awards in 6 distinct categories. The remarkable transformation of George Clooney from a baseball player who was unsuccessful to a Hollywood powerhouse can be attributed to more than just his talent. Reinvention, perseverance, and gaining knowledge from each and every obstacle that he encountered along the way were necessary. In spite of the fact that George Clooney achieved great success in Hollywood, a trip to war-torn Sudan sparked something more profound within him. The dangers he faced in real life were significantly higher than those he faced in any movie role, as he was arrested at embassies and received death threats along the way. What compelled this actor to put everything on the line? Work related to humanitarian aid. George Clooney, who is responsible for the success of Hollywood, has utilized his growing influence to address some of the most pressing humanitarian issues that the world is currently facing. His first trip to Sudan, which he took with his father Nick in 2006, was a trip that would profoundly alter his perspective on fame as well as his sense of purpose in life. He was motivated to take action as a result of the terrible events that George Clooney witnessed in Darfur. Clooney, in contrast to the majority of celebrities who simply lend their names to causes, became deeply involved in the intricate politics of international conflict. He testified in front of Congress, met with leaders from around the world, and even contributed to the funding of spy satellites installed along the border with Sudan in order to keep an eye out for possible war crimes. During the year 2012, George Clooney's commitment to humanitarian causes reached a pinnacle when he was detained outside of the Sudanese embassy in Washington, District of Columbia. Today, George Clooney was detained during a demonstration in Washington. Clooney, along with his father and a number of congressmen, participated in a demonstration against the food and aid blockade imposed by the government of Sudan on its citizens. Despite the fact that the arrest was premeditated, it managed to send a powerful message about the lengths to which he was willing to go in order to bring attention to humanitarian crises. As a result of George Clooney's appointment as a United Nations Messenger of Peace in 2008, his advocacy work has expanded beyond the borders of Sudan. The Hope for Haiti Now telethon was organized by him in the aftermath of the devastating earthquake that struck Haiti in 2010. Clooney's ability to rally Hollywood to support important humanitarian causes was demonstrated by the fact that this event succeeded in raising more than $58 million for relief efforts and brought together a large number of high-profile celebrities. George Clooney's participation in the Not On Our Watch project, which he co-founded with actors Don Cheadle, Matt Damon, and Brad Pitt, is not as well known as the other 3 actors' individual contributions. The primary objective of the organization is to put an end to mass atrocities in countries such as Sudan, Zimbabwe, and Myanmar. By means of this initiative, Clooney has contributed to the allocation of millions of dollars towards the monitoring of human rights and the provision of humanitarian aid. He has not been without risk as a result of his dedication. Following the revelation of financial corruption in Sudan, Clooney was subjected to death threats and was required to increase his security measures. Nevertheless, he continued to move forward with his activism, claiming that fame has a special way of bringing attention to issues that he would not have been able to succeed in getting people to notice otherwise. The commitment that George Clooney has shown to humanitarian work is more than just celebrity activism. It has become an essential component of his legacy. He and his wife, Amal Clooney, established the Clooney Foundation for Justice in 2016, and it is through this organization that they continue to advocate for the improvement of education, human rights, and justice systems all over the world. The fact that he plays a role that is not on screen demonstrates that it may be the most significant role he plays. There was no way that George Clooney could have imagined that he would find love so close to home while he was working to fight global injustice. 13 years ago, a highly skilled human rights attorney paid a visit to his villa in Lake Como. This chance encounter, according to his agent, has the potential to alter the course of events for the most famous bachelor in Hollywood for good. In 2013, George Clooney's villa in Lake Como was visited by an unexpected visitor who would forever alter the course of his life. This event took place on a warm evening in July. According to Amal Alamuddin, a lawyer who specializes in international law and human rights and is of Lebanese and British descent, she was not swayed by the glamour of Hollywood. Both of them had a strong commitment to the cause of human rights, which is why she was there. Amal had already established a name for herself in the legal world prior to her meeting with Clooney. She has represented a number of notable clients, such as Julian Assange and the former Prime Minister of Ukraine, among others. She had a degree in law from New York University School of Law and Oxford University, and she was entirely proficient in the languages of English, Arabic, and French. In comparison to Clooney's previous relationships, she stood out due to her intelligence and independence. The fact that Clooney's parents were in town that evening is something that a lot of people are actually unaware of. After some time had passed, his father, Nick, recalled how George couldn't stop staring at Amal while they were eating dinner. He also recalled how she challenged him on a variety of political issues, which was something that extremely few people were willing to do with the Hollywood star. Their connection was instantaneous, but it was not what the majority of people anticipated it to be. During the early stages of their relationship, rather than taking part in the typical celebrity dating scene, they engaged in conversations about international law while eating dinner together at home and exchanged emails about international politics. A few months prior to going on their first official date in London, Clooney revealed that they had been exchanging letters with one another for a considerable amount of time. In the shadows, away from the prying eyes of the cameras, their relationship grew. Through their commitment to bettering the world and their shared interests in human rights and justice reform, they were able to form a connection with one another. They worked together on behalf of causes that were important to them during the early stages of their relationship. One of these causes was the crisis in Syria, which was particularly significant to Amal due to the fact that she comes from a Middle Eastern background. They were surprised to find that their disparate worlds had come together. Together with George, Amal attended her very first event in Hollywood, which was the premiere of Monuments Men. Clooney, who was known for his jokes and relaxed style, became more serious and focused when talking about their shared humanitarian interests while he was accompanying her to important United Nations meetings. Friends observed this change in Clooney's demeanor. When compared to Clooney's previous dating patterns, this relationship was a departure. He discovered an intellectual partner who challenged him both professionally and personally, as opposed to the typical glamorous models or actresses he would have worked with earlier. After only 6 months of a whirlwind romance, the most famous bachelor in Hollywood planned the ideal proposal for his girlfriend. However, everything went horribly wrong when Clooney got down on one knee and proposed to his girlfriend. This romantic moment turned into a 20-minute ordeal that almost caused him to lose his hip. What caused this to happen? It was a wedding proposal and won. In spite of the fact that he had been adamant for years that he would never marry again, George Clooney found himself in the position of preparing a lavish proposal at his California home. On April 28, 2014, he organized what he thought would be the ideal evening for himself and his friends. With his Aunt Rosemary Clooney's romantic music playing in the background, a home-cooked dinner, and a 7-carat emerald-cut diamond ring that had been concealing itself with great care and was estimated to be worth approximately $750,000, he was prepared to pop the question. It was a pleasant beginning to the evening. One of the dishes that Clooney prepared for dinner was pasta, which he had learned to prepare during his time spent in Italy. Nevertheless, his elaborately planned speech took a turn that was completely unexpected. Amal was so taken aback from the moment he got down on one knee that she was unable to provide him with an immediate response. After the awkwardness of the situation, Clooney joked to Ellen DeGeneres that he had said that he hoped the answer was yes, but that he needed an answer because he was 52 years old and could throw out his hip. Because of their wedding, which took place on September 27, 2014, Venice was transformed into a scene from a Hollywood film. This historic city was chosen by the couple because it was the location of their first vacation together, and it was also a convenient halfway point for their families who were traveling from Lebanon and Britain. The celebration began with a bachelor party that took place at Harry's Bar, which is well known in Venice, and continued for a total of 4 days. The fact that their wedding was a combination of Hollywood glamour and intellectual gravity was what made it so memorable. During the ceremony, guests were able to engage in conversation with celebrities such as Matt Damon, Bill Murray, and Anna Wintour. Additionally, readings were performed in both English and Arabic. Amal wore a wedding dress that was Oscar de la Renta's final creation before he passed away. The dress was designed by Oscar de la Renta during his final days. The dress was crafted over the course of 14 weeks, and it featured pearls that were hand-embroidered and shiny details. The couple arrived at the Amman Canal Grande Hotel in vintage water taxis that they named Amore and Love. This resulted in the creation of photographs that were so memorable that they were featured on the covers of magazines all over the world. On the other hand, many people are unaware of the fact that they also held a private civil ceremony at Palazzo Ca' Farsetti in Venice, which dates back to the 16th century. During this ceremony, they officially became husband and wife prior to the large celebration. In lieu of accepting wedding gifts, the couple requested that their guests make contributions to organizations that advocate for human rights. One thing that stood out the most was not the extravagant nature of the celebration, which cost approximately $4,600,000. The bright lights of Hollywood and the important work of international human rights advocacy were brought together by this event. It was the way that it brought together two different worlds. Following their wedding in Venice, which was reminiscent of a fairy tale, the colonies embarked on their most exciting journey to date. The man who had previously declared that he would never marry again was about to experience the most shocking event of his entire life. What was the shocking news that kept George up all night for several days straight? Having a family life. After learning in February 2017 that they were expecting not just one baby, but twins, George and Amal Clooney's lives underwent a dramatic transformation. This news came as a complete and utter shock to a man who had previously stated that he would never have grandchildren. George, who was 56 years old at the time, began preparing for fatherhood with the same level of enthusiasm that he put into his roles in films. The Portland Hospital in London was the location where the twins, Ella and Alexander, were being born on June 6, 2017. The colonies chose to keep the birth of their child a secret, despite the fact that they were among the most recognized couples in the world. The information was disseminated through a straightforward statement that included George's signature sense of humor. It was reported by him that Ella, Alexander, and Amal were all in good health, content, and doing well. He was given sedation, and it is anticipated that he will recover in a few days. The couple made the decision to raise their children away from the spotlight of Hollywood, and they split their time between their homes in Sonning-on-Thames, England, Lake Como, Italy, and their estate in Los Angeles. Their mansion in the United Kingdom underwent a renovation that cost $12 million. The renovation included the addition of a panic room, an improved security system, and so on. Their decision to become parents resulted in the colonies forming friendships that they had not anticipated, including a close relationship with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Prior to the Sussexes' relocation to California, the children frequently met up for playdates with one another. Amal, who was wearing a bright yellow dress designed by Stella McCartney, was the center of attention at the wedding that took place in 2018, which was attended by the colonies. It was even George's closest friends who were taken aback by his transformation from a confirmed bachelor to a caring father. In order to keep his children entertained, he became proficient in the art of changing nappies, became an expert in preparing baby food, and even used his pranking skills. Due to the fact that they were able to spend their summers at Lake Como, where they were able to enjoy some time away from the paparazzi, the twins began speaking Italian before they learned English. Although they lived a privileged lifestyle, the colonies made it a priority to instill a sense of responsibility in their children. In addition to encouraging reading and establishing a rule that prohibits the use of screens and tablets, they also involve the twins in their humanitarian work in ways that are appropriate for their age. The twins, who were 3 years old at the time, participated in the process of packing care packages for children who had been affected by natural disasters. At the beginning of this new chapter, George revealed a different side. In the past, the individual who expressed that he could not fathom being responsible for children has now admitted that being a father is the most significant role he has ever played. Having children, he explained to The Hollywood Reporter, is the thing that has brought about the most significant shift in his perspective. According to what he said, it makes you feel an extreme amount of responsibility for the world that you are leaving behind. In spite of the picture-perfect family photos and smiles that match, the colonies are currently dealing with the most difficult obstacle they have ever encountered. living 4,000 miles apart. With George turning 63, it is possible that this second chance at love will be met with the same challenges that led to the dissolution of his first marriage. Current marriage dynamics. George and Amal Clooney have been married for 10 years, and they are currently attempting to find a balance between their hectic careers and their family life. As a result of their increasingly demanding schedules and growing professional commitments, the rule that they had previously maintained, which stated that they would never spend more than 1 week apart, has become more flexible. George's recent decision to take on a role on Broadway in New York City that will last for an entire year presents the greatest challenge they have faced to date in terms of distance. Amal is keeping herself busy with her important legal work in London and The Hague, where she recently spent 4 months leading a group of international legal experts. This is taking place while he is getting ready for his debut on stage during this time. In the past, their villa in Lake Como served as a romantic getaway. However, it has quickly transformed into a bustling work hub. The property now features a fully functional production facility, which George uses to create his films. Additionally, the property is used as a summer retreat for the same family. Separate work areas are available to the couple. Amal's legal team is located in one wing of the building, while George's film operation is located in another. A great number of individuals are unaware of the degree of care with which they organize their schedules. For the purpose of ensuring that one of their twins, who are 7 years old, is always available, their staff makes sure to organize their commitments several months in advance. The schedules of the children frequently play a role in determining which cases Amal chooses to take on and which film projects George is willing to participate in. For the most part, the couple now communicates with one another through brief video calls and brief chats in between their meetings, in contrast to when they first started dating and exchanged lengthy emails about global issues. It is sometimes necessary for them to communicate at odd hours due to the fact that they are located in different time zones. George is in New York, and Amal is frequently in Europe. Despite this, they have discovered ways to maintain their connection. Amal is taken aback when George surprises her by delivering her favorite French pastries to her office. At the same time, she leaves handwritten notes in his scripts. Date nights are also something that they make time for, even if they are virtual. They frequently watch the same movie while video chatting with each other. Concerns have been raised about the validity of their relationship as a result of the demands of their careers. However, their friends believe that their differences actually make them stronger. In spite of the fact that George brings a sense of humor to Amal's otherwise serious legal work, she assists him in remaining grounded in the real world despite his lifestyle in Hollywood. Even though they are separated by a great distance, they are able to maintain their connection because of their shared commitment to human rights and justice. How do you think George Clooney's commitment to helping other people has influenced the way he is perceived by the public and the relationships he has with his own family and friends? What do you think about the difficulty of maintaining a balance between one's personal life and one's fame? In the comments section, we would be delighted to hear your thoughts. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this post. Check out the following video that appears on your screen as well. It is going to be enjoyable for you.